city was ruled by survival of the toughest. The more you had, the more you were a target.
You start making money, so you know you looking good to other people that don't have money. You see what I'm saying? Looking like fresh meat or whatever.
And people said, "Mother of God, what have we created?"
In June 2006, the Big Easy was shaken to its core by one of the bloodiest killings in the city's history. Just before dawn, 5 teenagers were sitting in an SUV less than 2 miles from the French Quarter when they were assassinated in a hail of semi-automatic gunfire.
Oh man, they wasn't no bad kids at all, bro. At all, man. They was kids. They was kids, man. Still living with their mama and daddy.
Authorities believed the murders stemmed from an altercation over drugs.
One of the police chiefs told one of my relatives that during his whole tenure on the police force, he never witnessed a murder where it was like 5 people at one time. Nobody lived to tell a story or nothing.
1 month after the slayings, anonymous phone calls and a street-level informant led police to Michael Anderson, a 19-year-old with 9 felony arrests. He was charged with 5 counts of murder. A key witness in the case refused to cooperate, and all 5 murder charges were dropped. Were it not for heroin possession charges, Anderson would have gone free. It was proof that no matter how much Katrina had reshaped the city, the old New Orleans code of silence still ruled the streets.
It's a societal thing here in the impoverished community that don't speak to authority because authority has failed me.
The slayings forced then-Governor Kathleen Blanco to call in the National Guard to help control the violence.
You had the National Guard, you had the federal police, you had the NOPD, you had all type of agencies coming from around the United States just to get a grip on the crime, just to get the city back up and rolling, man.
But control was slipping from their grasp. In the year following Katrina, the murder rate jumped by 69%. But the crippled judicial system brought about only 1 conviction.
I think New Orleans is one of the worst places as far as murders and drugs you could ever be in. Period. Ever.
New Orleans, 2006. Devastated by Hurricane Katrina, the Big Easy struggled to get back on its feet, while a crime epidemic threatened to destroy the city. New Orleans had never had a sizable Latino population, but now thousands of immigrant workers were pouring into the area, hoping to cash in on the opportunity to rebuild. Their presence unnerved the Igotdis boys.
I ain't racist enough, but the Mexicans, man. They like everywhere.
Many of the Latinos were illegals who didn't speak English. With no legal IDs to open bank accounts, they were known to carry large amounts of cash, which made them prime targets for gangs.
And we call them the walking ATMs because they'd be getting shot or shot at and robbed.
They were targets for another reason. The Igotdis boys feared the new residents were trying to take over the drug market.
You're a foreigner, and how you gonna come down here and control our market? It's a small market, but it's ours. Now you gonna come out here, you gonna steal cars, and you gonna do all this little petty shit to trying to get known, of course. Let's see if you stack up some bodies.
Rumors began to circulate that the Latinos were banding together for protection. It was the authorities' worst nightmare.
And the last thing New Orleans needs are these black drug distribution networks slugging it out against a Latin gang.
The city was spiraling out of control. So in September 2007, the federal government intervened with a drastic move. Hoping to avoid the growing gang violence, they ordered 4 of the city's flood-damaged housing projects to be demolished, including the Magnolia and the Callio.
I'm like this. You tearing down these projects to do what? To modernize our city? All right. But you might take 3,000 people out of one project and replace it with 1,000. What am I at? What am other 2,000 people going at?
Though portions of the Melf are still standing, the landscape of the Third Ward has changed. For the Igotdis boys, it's like losing part of their extended family.
When they tore it down, you know, they tore part of me down, you know what I'm saying?
The federal government plans to replace some of the low-income housing with mixed-income neighborhoods filled with townhouse-style apartments. The Igotdis boys say this poses a threat to their old hood and its way of life.
You're creating poverty. Ain't no way these people gonna get out here and pay no $1,400, $1,500 a month of rent, and they just came from paying $75 at the most. So now you forcing them to get it how you live.
Yeah, the old ways is gonna remain around. Just because the bricks gone or whatever, it won't change the mentality of the project.
The Igotdis boys are now scattered throughout New Orleans. But once a Igotdis boy, always a Igotdis boy. Even if the bricks and mortar are destroyed, the bonds of the gang will remain strong until death. Dip says that after serving time in prison for drug charges, he keeps a lower profile on the streets, but he's still in the game.
You ain't gonna catch me hustling, but you gonna catch me affiliated with them same people, you know?
Uncle Laurel says he became more cautious after the killing of his cousin, Baby Kiki.
I kind of like pumped my brakes after I lost Kiki. I'm telling y'all, that left a big scar on my whole life. Like, you don't really feel it till when they hit home like that. And it was like when they killed Kiki, they killed me.
He works a day job, but still hangs out in the Third Ward at night with his crew. Since he has a felony record, Laurel can't own a gun, but he still arms himself.
Y'all call my little dagger because I told y'all I'm living in the biblical days.
Dio remains as committed as ever to the Igotdis boys. But with a prior manslaughter conviction, he worries his street connections could land him back in prison. He's got a legitimate job now, working as a roofer.
And if you ain't making no money, you ain't making no kind of moves for yourself, you know, you're just gonna be under the bridge, under one of those Claiborne bridges. You're hanging in front of the stove drinking. Lost, really.
The New Orleans police have had little success in quelling the violence.
Some of these kids outgun the cops. And they don't care if they die. And they don't care who dies. It has nothing to do with law enforcement. It has everything to do with their ideal of, I don't give a shit.
The Igotdis boys say the violence and silence are the ties that bind them to the Big Easy. And that if a storm like Katrina couldn't break it, nothing will.
Everything is still the same, you know? Just that the murder rate is probably even worse than before.
The violence gonna keep you here because you feel like, man, it's the only way I know.
That's just New Orleans. I mean, that's how it is. That's life.